වාණිජ, විද්‍යා, ගණිත, කලා, තාක්ෂණ වේදය, විෂය ධාරාවන් වල සියලුම විෂයන් සඳහා විශ්වවිද්‍යාල කතිකාචාර්යවරුන් සහ රජයේ පාසල්වල ප්‍රවීණ ආචාර්ය මණ්ඩලය විසින් මෙහෙයවනු ලබන දේශන නැනපවුර YouTube channel ඔස්සේ නැරඹිය හැක. ඉදිරි දේශන දැනගැනීම සඳහා නැනපවුර YouTube channel subscribe කරන්න. දැයි දූ දරුවන්ගේ අනාගත ජයග්‍රහණයට.
Hello everyone. So now we are going to start today's business studies lecture. Madam Sanjeevani joins with us today. Healthy friends who could not attend today can watch today's lecture on our Nanapura YouTube channel. So I warmly invite our Madam Sanjeevani who is joining with us today. Hello Madam.
Good evening, children. So today I thought of starting the second unit, social responsibilities and business ethics. But I'll share the screen. All right. So this is your second unit, social responsibilities and business ethics, right? So you should know what social responsibilities is, right? So this is the second unit, and then this is something very important for your day-to-day life as well, right? Social responsibilities from your side, from business organizations perspective, that we are going to learn today, right? So we'll see what social responsibilities. You know, in an organization, you do something like you produce something just to gain a profit. So how do you get the material, the raw material, the resources? From where do you get? From the society, from the environment. So after producing that, after producing the product, so when you are releasing the product, so you might gain a profit, right? So from whom that you got that benefit? Because of the society. So you need to do something in return. That is social responsibility. You do something in return to the society. Okay, that is social responsibility. So first we are discussing about social responsibilities. So now different people have given different definitions for these social responsibilities, right? So now we'll see the first one. Okay, so you can see this. Right, so this is the first responsibility from the baker. What is it? Business social responsibility is about how companies manage the business process to produce an overall positive impact on society. This is how the Malan Baker has given his idea about social responsibility. Narayan Murthy also has given something about social responsibility. How Narayan Murthy has defined social responsibility? It is that he says business social responsibility is to create maximum value for shareholders. Now you know who shareholders. I explained who the shareholders and the stakeholders. Right? Stakeholders are the people who have this interest over business. Shareholders who gets the ownership of the business, right? By obtaining shares. So now here Narayan Murthy says business social responsibility is to create maximum value for shareholders while performing justly to all interested parties. That means for all stakeholders equally, that they are going to distribute this, right? Such as consumers, employees, society, government, and the environment. So this is what Narayan Murthy has given. Right, then we'll see there are some national definitions also. Now earlier, 1 minute. The earlier one, different people have given the definitions. Right now, here, different countries, nations, right, they have given their different definitions. Now, USA, what is USA's opinion about social responsibility? USA says business social responsibility is about accepting personal responsibility for the actions and its impact on society. So this is what USA says. Then we'll see the Philippines one. It is like business social responsibility is about business giving back to the society. As I told you, you do something because of the society. You get the resources because of the society. So in return, you need to do something for the society. So this is business social responsibility according to the Philippines, right? Then now you learned the definitions from different people, the definitions from different nations. Now you have learned, right? So that's the first area that you need to focus on, what social responsibility is. Then we'll see there are some developing forces that will have an impact on stakeholders and the society. Right now, these are developing forces, children. Right? They will do something for the stakeholders and as well as to the society. What are these developing forces? Business competition, globalization, electronic business, environmental pollution. So business competition is also a developing force, right? So directly or indirectly that will have an impact on the stakeholders, right? So you need to compete with competitors, right? So globalization, because of globalization, any product that you can consume from any country, right? So anything that you can sell to another country, globalization, right? It's free, like exchanging. So that is also will have an impact on the stakeholders and the society. So electronic business, e-business. So this is also a developing force. So that is also will have an impact on the stakeholders, right? And as well as the society. Environmental pollution, when you do something, when you are producing something, you need to think about the environment, children, right? So during the first lesson also I told you, we spoke about the environment, business environment, right? We spoke about SWOT analysis, strengths, weaknesses, opportunities and threats. So environmental pollution is also a developing force, right? So what are the developing forces that will have an impact on the stakeholders and the society? Business competition, globalization, electronic business, and environmental pollution, right? Then, and the other thing, to whom that you do this now, right? To whom that you have to provide this social responsibility? There are some parties. Who are they? Customers, employees, owners, society. You do these social responsibilities, right? These are the main parties to whom the business has to fulfill its social responsibilities. So if you are running a business, if you are having a business, and if you do some social responsibilities, you need to think about the customer as well. Employees also, you need to do something for them. You need to do something for the customers, you need to do something for employees, owners, society. So these are the main parties to whom the business has to fulfill its social responsibilities. So we are talking about like customers, employees, owners, society separately, right? You need to know what type of social responsibilities that you need to do for customers, what type of social responsibilities that you need to do for employees, owners, society. So think practically, logically. So then it's easy, children, right? You don't need to by heart all, and I mean, all these things you can't by heart, just get it, practically just try to learn these things because it's very much practical. It's business, right? So think about in that manner. Think that you have your own business, then it's easy. All right. Then there's a diagram that will show the business social responsibilities that should be fulfilled to each party, right? So now I'll show you the diagram. 1 minute. Wait, I'll show you the diagram. Right, here is the diagram, right? Hope you can see this. I'll share this again. All right, so this is the diagram. This shows the social responsibility, right, from customers, owners, society, and employees. Right, now check customer. So how can that social responsibilities will affect customers? Being fair. Now from the business's side, how do you treat customers? What are the social responsibilities that you do to customers? By being fair, that is one way. By minimizing damages when you are giving something. Now you produce something in the organization, now you are sending the product to the customer. So you need to make sure that to have zero defects, right, to minimize damages. And protecting rights, there are consumer rights, children, so you need to protect that also. You need to adhere to these rights. So that's from customers. That's for customers, right? For owners, now you need to do something for owners as well. What are the social responsibilities that you can do to the owners? Provide a fair return, right? Provide economic benefits, efficient and just management. That is those things for owners. Then to the society, you contribute to the employment. You can generate employment opportunities for them, right? And you can pay tax without fear. Waste management, when you're producing something, if you realize that there's waste, you need to have a proper waste management system, right? Community welfare services also. Green products, eco-friendly production. These things for society. Then for employees, equality, you need to treat them equally, right? Not from one hand to somebody and from the other hand to somebody, no, equality. Good employee relationship, you need to have a good rapport with them, right? And you need to make sure the job security, okay? And health and safety as well. You need to make sure that you need to provide a health, safety environment, business environment for them, right? You need to make sure whether they have safety equipment. Okay, so this is for employees, right? So now this is the diagram which shows social responsibilities for customers, owners, society, and employees. All right, then we'll go back to the presentation. Okay, right. So then, now we'll see the next one. It's the benefits received by the business when fulfilling social responsibilities. Now, from the business's perspective, now you do all sort of social responsibilities to consumers, to employees, to owners, to the society. So what will the business receive? From the business's perspective, what the business receives, that you need to know, right? What is it? Ensure the existence of business. So since you are doing the business social responsibility, the goodwill, right? Everybody will talk about your business, right? So you can ensure the existence of business. There will be continuous existence then. Then develop business goodwill, as I told you, right? When you're doing a social responsibility, just think that you are just providing free spectacles. Okay, so you do that from the business's name, right? You have some banners, you have some publicity. So ultimately you're improving, you're developing the goodwill or the image of the business. Ensure the business trust. You can improve the business trust also. And satisfy customer. You will satisfy customer and you achieve the business objectives, right? Objectives, the short term, right? So you set objectives for short term. So you can achieve businesses objectives as well, right? So, and the other thing, children, now earlier, of course, now in the ancient time, so, or like past years, so end of the year, when you are after, when it comes to December or end of November or end of the year, you just show the financial reports now during the, the meeting that they are going to have in the organization. You need to show what the income and what the expense that you have gained, whether it's a profit or loss, all the documents, all these statements you need to show, right? So now the present situation is that you need to show the social responsibility report also. So you need to show them, you need to present, and you need to show them that you have done something social responsibility during this term. This is the type of social responsibility that you have done. Okay, that is also provided. Okay, so it is also a must now. And with the end of the year reports, you need to submit social responsibility report as well. Okay, so now here these are the benefits received by the businesses when fulfilling social responsibilities. You will get the existence of the business, you can develop the goodwill or the image, you ensure the business trust, you can satisfy customers, you can achieve the business objectives, right? Then sustainable development, the next part. Now, so we have discussed about social responsibilities, right? So we are done with that. So along with this social responsibility, there's a term that goes with sustainable development. What is sustainable development? If you do something, or if you are constructing, or if you do something or modification, you need to think about the future as well. You need to keep something for the future. That is sustainable development. Right now here, World Commission on Environment and Development has given this definition. Sustainable development is development which meets the needs of the present without compromising the ability of future generations to meet their own needs. So if you do something, you need to think about the future. So that is hidden here, right? Then there are 3 pillars of sustainable development. So if you are talking about sustainable development, children, there are 3 things that we need to talk about, right? So what are 3 pillars of sustainable development? Economic sustainable development, environment sustainable protection, and social sustainable development. Okay, so these are the 3 pillars of sustainable development: economic sustainable development, environmental sustainable protection, and social sustainable development. Now we'll see what the economic sustainable development is, what the environmental sustainable protection is, and what social sustainable development is. Now we'll see the first pillar, economic sustainable development. What is this? So when you're talking about economy, what do we talk about? That is about, now we can say traditionally economic development was considered as the progress in GDP, right? If there is a progress in gross domestic product, you can say it is economically developed, right? So not only that, okay, you need to improve the human welfare also by doing what? By enhancing the quality of life. So if you can see the quality of life in the people in the country, if it's high, so you can see it's developed. And you need to reduce the consumption of resources also. Okay, then here under economic sustainable development, it is important to empower people to have a better standard of living, children. Okay, so you need to increase, you need to develop the standard of living in that particular nation. So then you can say economically they are sustainable. Okay, so they can engage in activities like providing the present and future generations with prosperity and protection, and they can earn the wealth by engaging in prosperity and protection, right? So from that, ultimately, if they can have high standard of lifestyle, so that is economic sustainable development. All right, then we can say it is important here to, first of all, also I told you sustainable development is where you think about the future also, future generation also. So here that you can eradicate poverty of the people, right? And competitive market is also important for this, right? And expected to reach economic sustainable development by providing eco-friendly products that are affordable, right? So you need to think about that competitive market also under economic sustainable development. So this is economic sustainable development. So once again, what is economic sustainable development? Not only the development of GDP, right? So not only that, but also improving human welfare by increasing the lifestyle, right? So by reducing the consumption of resources, empower the people of having a better lifestyle, eradicating poverty, right? Having a competitive market style. So these things come under economic sustainable development. Then we'll go to the second pillar, that is environment sustainable protection, right? This is environment sustainable protection. So what is this? It is expected to satisfy the basic human needs, right? Such as water, food, shelter, under this environmental sustainable protection, right? So you need to maintain, you need to protect. This is for future generation. Okay, so basically you need to protect this environment. Okay, so you need to protect this, and the human activities you need to have to be alert, right? So global environment should be protected for future generation. Okay, so that is the main thing focused here under environment sustainable protection. Okay, so because of this human adverse effects that have risen, such as global warming, destruction of forestry, excessive fishing in oceans, right? So because of these things, now environmental sustainable protection, that you need to think more. Okay, so environmental sustainability can be protected through consuming resources which cannot be replaced, right? There are resources you cannot replace, so you need to protect those things for future, right? At a lower speed rather than the speed they take to replace themselves naturally, right? So this is environment sustainable protection. Basically, under environmental sustainable protection, what you should write when you get some questions under environmental sustainable protection, what you should write? You need to write about the protection of the environment, right? So you need to think, you need to speak about, you need to write about adverse effects. Okay, so the result of those things. Okay, then ultimately you need to write environmental sustainability is what? To protect through consuming resources which cannot be replaced for future generation. All right, so this is environment sustainable protection. Then the third pillar, social sustainable development. So what is this social sustainable development? You ensure a sustainable future, needs and wants of people to be satisfied equally, fairly, right? So you need to think, you need to make sure everyone gets the resources equally. Okay, so when human needs and wants can be fulfilled with high standards, there shouldn't be corruption or violation. Okay, so you need to reduce those things. You need to ensure the position in social sustainable development by emphasizing on giving equality. Okay, then social integrity, commitment of community and development of human rights. So those things you need to speak under social sustainable development. So when you are writing under social sustainable development, that is about the equality that you need to speak about. How are you going to distribute resources among the society? Right, here to have the development by satisfying human needs while not violating the need for future generation. That's a main thing focus under social sustainable development. All right, so under social sustainable development, the main thing is that we need to develop social sustainability by satisfying human needs while not having the needs for future generation. Okay, so now we discussed the three pillars. And now I told you there are three pillars under sustainable development. What are three pillars? First, again, I'll come back to these three pillars of sustainable development: economic sustainable development, environment sustainable protection, social sustainable development. Right? So you need to know these three. So this is about sustainable development. Now we'll see there's a diagram. It shows the sustainable development concept. Okay, that also I'll show it. Right. So here, this is the sustainable development concept. Okay. So it says, now see, it's kind of a Venn diagram. right? Now here you can see social sustainable development. Here you can see environmental sustainable protection. Here you can see economic sustainable development, right? So under social sustainable, and for social sustainable development and economic sustainable development, what is common? Equitable, right? So equally that you need to distribute resources among them. So under, for environmental sustainable protection and social sustainable development, bearable. This term you should know, right? So this goes under social sustainable development. This bearable common to social sustainable development as well as environmental sustainable protection, right? So for environmental sustainable protection and economic sustainable development, viable is there, right? So for all these three, you need sustainability, right? This is the concept. So from this diagram only it shows the sustainable development concept, children. Okay, so you should know to draw this social. Now it's kind of a Venn diagram. It's easy, right? Social sustainable development, environmental sustainable protection, and economic sustainable development. So you need to know what is common to these two, and what is common to these two, and what is common to these two, right? So what is common to all these three, right? So this is sustainable development concept. All right, so we'll go back to the presentation. Okay, then wait. Yes, now the way that business can contribute to sustainable development. How can the business contribute to sustainable development, children? So now we'll see. While selecting strategies and activities, you need to select some strategies and activities, children, right? So if you have a business, right, now from the business's perspective we speak here, so you need to select strategies and activities to fulfill needs and wants, right? And for stakeholders, it should develop and protect natural and human resources for future needs, right? So when you're writing answers for sustainable development, not only social sustainable but also for all three pillars, right? So you need to emphasize the term future needs, right? Future generation, right? Because we always speak about future here under develop sustainable development, right? When you're selecting strategies and activities, now in a business you need to think about future and you need to protect the natural resources for future needs, right? Then that becomes a sustainable use of a business, right? If you do so, if you do some strategies, if you have some strategies and activities for future, then we can say that has a sustainable use of a business. And to make sustainable development a reality cannot be done only by one business working for it alone, right? Only you cannot do it. Everyone should get together and do it, right? From inside the business, also from one sector that you cannot do. Everything should be interconnected. Okay, consumers, including total world economic community, should actively contribute for that, right? These are the ways that business can contribute to sustainable development. Yes, right? So it has to be, it's like this. Give me a minute. So one child is asking a question, so I need to explain that also. 1 minute. Yeah, I'll just explain this and then I'll come back to your question, right? So that I can, later on, I can just, answer all the questions. Okay, 1 minute, I will explain this and then I'll come back to your question. Don't worry, I will clear your doubts before we'll end up the class today, right? Session today. Okay, so this is about the way that the business can contribute to sustainable development, right? So just as I told you, don't now when they're asking a question like the way that business can contribute to sustainable development, don't try to by heart all these things, right? You can't do it because you have 18 units now, right? You cannot by heart everything. Just practically just try to write something. Okay, if you think practically that it's easy for you to write. Okay, so now here you need to say like strategies, you need to select strategies in the business and activities by a business to fulfill needs and wants, right? So then that will be a sustainable use of a business. And to make sustainable development a reality, it cannot be done only by one business working it alone. So everybody should contribute, and total world economic community should actively contribute for that. Okay. Then, next one. Facts that business should concentrate when working towards economic sustainability, right? So when it comes to economic sustainability, what are the facts that a business should concentrate, children? You need to think about economic development and stability. You need to think about that, right? Efficiency, right? How efficient to use these resources, competition, production and consumption, employment, international trade. So these are the facts that you need to concentrate when you are working towards economic sustainability. Then what are the steps that can be taken by a business to ensure economic sustainability? Now, when we take economic sustainability, these are the facts that you need to think about, right? What are the facts? Once again, you need to think about economic development. Efficiently, like how efficient that you can use resources, competition, production and consumption, employment and international trade. So these are the facts, no? So what are the steps that you can take to ensure economic sustainability? You can do job designing, empowering skills, efficient use of resources. Right now, if you are efficiently using resources, so that is that you are working towards it, right? Efficient usage of capital, risk management, empower economic development, growth in benefits of stakeholders, investment for national economic growth. These are the steps, right? So these are the steps that can be taken by a business to ensure economic sustainability. By designing job, you can ensure economic sustainability. You can empower the skills, right? There are a variety of skills, efficient use of resources. Okay, efficiently you can use the capital as well. Risk management, you need to manage the risk also in a proper way, right? You can empower the economic development and the growth in benefits of stakeholders, investment for national economic growth, right? These are the steps that can be taken by a business to ensure economic sustainability, right? Then we'll go, there are so many things, right? Like introducing innovations. This is also comes under, these points also come under economic sustainability. I'll just read these things. Introducing innovation. Now, by innovating things, developing technology, contributing to the development of business infrastructure, employee welfare, improving exchange and transaction process, encouraging production process. These things also come under economic sustainable the steps, right? So not only these, now you can see there are so many steps that you can go through. Then we'll see the facts that will ensure about environmental sustainability, right? What are the facts that they are in environmental sustainability? Consumption of resources. Okay, you need to consume resources, raw materials and waste management, risk management, protection of natural and cultural heritages. So these things are the facts that you should consider under environmental sustainability. Now we'll see the activities. And like the earlier one, there are some activities also under environmental sustainability, right? So separately you need to know what are the facts under environmental sustainability and what are the activities that you can do, right, by a business to ensure environmental sustainability. Now you have a business, what are the steps or what are the activities that you can do to ensure the business environmental sustainability? You can buy eco-friendly products, all right? So that is one way. Engage in activities by retaining resources such as raw materials and water in the production process, and putting into practice these concepts 3R, 4R, 5R in waste management. Use of eco-friendly transportation modes. Use of dangerous substances in a safe manner. Then minimizing the pollution of water, air and soil. and taking actions to protect biodiversity, right? Acting in accordance with environmental rules and regulations. There are environmental rules, right? So what you should do and what you should not do, you need to act according to that. Working together with government and non-government firms to protect the environment, right? And usage of eco-friendly power such as solar power, right? So these are the activities that can be done by a business to ensure environmental sustainability. So what are the facts that a business should focus on to ensure social and cultural sustainability? What are the facts? Enhance the standard of living of people. Social sustainability, I hope you can remember. When I'm explaining social sustainability, I spoke about these things. Enhance the standard of living of people. Providing equal opportunities to people. Create social integrity. Encourage international participation. Then maintain human capital, protect local traditions and customs. You know, there are traditions that we follow, customs that we follow. You need to protect those things. You need to protect the cultural environment as well. And you have to take actions to minimize poverty, right? And employee relationship, you need to have a good rapport with employees as well. Okay, so these are the facts that a business should focus on to ensure social and cultural sustainability. Then what are the steps that can be taken by a business to ensure social sustainable or social and cultural sustainability? You need to respect for human diversity. Okay, right now, whatever that you need to respect, then contribute to the protection of human rights. You need to act with equality, right? And you need to act with equity and provide equal opportunities. You need to contribute to the essential facilities such as education, health, and transportation. This is for the society, and this is for the culture that you do. Okay, contribute to the social assurance activities. Contribute to respect and protect cultural diversity. Then contribute to protect laws and peace. So these are the steps that you can do. And as a business, these are the steps that you can take to ensure social and cultural sustainability. And then there is another thing that we need to speak about. This is about concepts, right? Come under sustainable development. This is known as 4R concept for sustainability. What is this 4R concept? Accumulating an unbearable amount of waste for a day in production and consumption activities has become a global problem. Right now, you must have seen, right? You might have seen there are so many, garbage here in Sri Lanka, right? So there is no proper way to dispose these things. Okay, so that's a huge problem now. So we need to concentrate, and you need to, concentration is focused onto it globally to achieve sustainable development through 4R concept. So you need to think about production, consumption, waste management, right? So under production, you need to think about this 4R concept, under consumption, under waste management, right? Now we will see 4R. Now there are not only 4R, there's 3R also. There's 5R also. So what is 4R? You recycle. You know what is recycling, right? You use that to produce something else. The waste, now the waste material that you use to produce something else. Reuse, you are using again and again, right? You are having a lunchbox, you are using that again and again. You are washing and using it. Reduce, you reduce consumption of polythene. Replace, right? Instead of polythene, you use a banana leaf. That is 4R. Okay, so if they ask 4R concept, this is what you need to write. Recycle, reuse, reduce, replace. If they ask you to name 5R, right? What is 5R concept? Refuse, you need to stop using those things. Refuse, no plastic. Okay, reduce, reuse, repurpose, and recycle. Okay, this is known as 5R. So what is 3R then? Reduce, reuse, recycle, only these three. Okay, so now I hope that you have got this. 3R in the sense reduce, reuse, recycle. 4R recycle, reuse, reduce, replace. 5R refuse, reduce, reuse, repurpose, and recycle. Right? So this is known as recycling concept. Then if you take recycle under 4R, we are discussing 4R, no, recycle, the first one. What is it? Waste is separated here to form a material to produce another product. So recycling, you can do it in 2 ways, right? So two ways that you can do the recycling processes. What is it? Upcycle and low cycle. Okay, so under recycle, you change the physical state of substance. So how can you do it? Upcycle. But that's the first thing. What is upcycle? Materials with lower value are transformed into products with higher value, right? So now material, the waste material it is sometimes it has no value. Okay, so we'll say it has lower value. So but you are transforming into a product which has a higher value. So the example, producing paper from hay. Hay, there's less value. But after producing paper using hay, paper has a higher value than hay. Okay, then if you take there is another one here, low cycle, right? So what is low cycle? Low cycle is you're producing something, using something valuable to produce something which has less value, right? So which has a higher value you're using, and that will transform into lower value. So in Japan, they crushed vehicle and they make iron. Okay, so that is low cycle. Okay, so then next one is reuse. Now, once again, recycle, you need to know what recycle is. Recycle is waste is so the physical state of the substance is changed, right? So there are 2 ways that you can do the recycling, upcycling and low cycling. Okay, that you need to know. Then what is reuse? Reuse using products that can be used over and over in production and consumption activities, right? As I told you here, the example using lunch boxes, right? You're using over and over again. Then reduce. This means the reduction of waste that is released to the environment. Okay, you need to reduce that. This can be done easily by reducing the discarding amount, right? So when you're consuming the production, so you can just reduce the discarding amount. Okay, so the contribution to sustainable development can also be done by eliminating the use, right? Or by avoiding the use, or by not using the harmful products at all. Okay, this is known as reduce. Not using non-degradable polythene for packing, not bottling drinking water in plastic bottles. That is reduce. Then what is replace? Among the natural resources that are used in production, the replacement of resources that are replaceable is known as replace. Right? Now you start a reforestation project. Okay? Why? Because you use timber for your manufacturing purposes. For that, you start a reforestation project. Okay, that is replace. Instead, that means that you have used it, you're replacing that by doing a reforestation project. Okay, so that is replace. Then what are the adverse effects of business activities? What are the adverse effects? Import low quality products, expecting more profit. So now you need to somehow other to gain more profit. So what you can do, you can just import low quality product, right? So that is an adverse effect. Mislead customers at high competition. You can mislead, you can change the prices, you can just reduce the quality, whatever. Unbiased employee welfare. One employee will get higher welfare facilities, and the other one lower welfare facilities. This has to be sorry children, this has to be biased, right? Not unbiased. This has to be biased employee welfare facilities. Okay, so biased in the sense you're treating one way to another person and the other way to another person. So biased employee welfare. That is also adverse effects. Then you conduct business activities by wasting natural resources, right? Only little resources that you need, but you're wasting a lot of resources to produce something. Okay, then release waste and pollute environment. Create advertisements that do not suit our society and culture. You know, we have, sorry, as Sri Lankans, we have a different culture, right? We have, you know, we have like, you know, ancient history, right? So that we have a separate culture. There are the other countries that they do not have this culture. So as I told you, we need to protect the culture. Okay, so there are so many advertisements that they will, you know, destroy those advertisements will not suitable for our culture, right, or the society. Okay, so you need, that is also an adverse effect if you show those advertisements, right? And designing a cloth, you design a cloth that will not suit our society and culture. Okay, so these are the adverse effects of business activities. Right, so now children, we discussed about business social responsibility, right? So now after that, business ethics. So before that, I will give, I'll answer that question that child has asked. 1 minute. What is the question that you have asked? Wait. Yeah, she's asking about this bearable, no? Bearable thing, no? Okay, we'll go to that chart and I will explain that, okay? After that, I will start the other part. Now we need to clear the doubts and go, no? Right? This is what? Bearable, right? So now here, bearable in the sense like, you know, it's something born to, right? So environmental sustainable protection, social sustainable protection, development. So here you need to bear things, right? Even social sustainable development, you have something, you know, you have a responsibility like, okay, even environmental sustainable protection also, you have to have something bearable. Okay, so that is known as because of that only it says the bearable is common to social sustainable development and environmental sustainable protection, right? In detail, if I explain that, it is like, you know, like it is things to make life in the tropic more bearable, like environment. Now if you do environmental sustainable protection, children, so it's like this, you environmental sustainable protection in the sense you do something for you protect the environment for the future, because you own this, you own this environment, right? So something, you know, bearable. Okay, social sustainable development is the society. You are belong to this society. That is also like bearable, right? Something belonging to. Okay, so that's the meaning that they have given. Okay, so for social sustainable development and environmental sustainable protection, both, you know, there's something they speak about the ownership. Okay, because of that only, for bearable has taken for a common feature for these two. All right. Okay. Then we'll go to business ethics then. Right. That's the other part of business social responsibility. Okay. All right. You're welcome. Yeah. If you have any doubts, and it's mostly welcome, children, you can clear your doubts. That's the meaning of this, you know, right? I just do it. and I don't know whether you can understand. If you there are areas if you cannot understand, so then you're free to ask. You're free to send the questions through the chat box, so that the way that I do, I can just read those things and I can clear your doubts. All right. So if you have anything, you can just ask your suggestions, right? So I'm mostly welcome. Okay. So now social sustainable development, that will be over. Then business ethics. What is business ethics, children? Ethics in the sense, what is good and what is bad, right? Basically, that's ethics, right? So even you should have some, ethics for yourself, right? You know what is good to do, like what is not to do, right? So if you are a school now, you are a school going children, so then you should know what you should do and you should know what you should not do, right? That's ethics. So it is from, if it's from the business's perspective, from businesses side, so businesses also, even in a business organization, particular business organization has some things to be done and things not to be done. Sorry. All right, so that's business ethics, right? So here business ethics means to act favorably to all the interested parties, acknowledging the good and bad. This is business ethics. All right. So what is business ethics once again? To act favorably to all the interested parties, acknowledging the good and bad. That's business ethics. Then importance of following business ethics. What are the importance of following business ethics? Now, I must say that there are certain things which is good to you in the organization. So why do we consider about this business ethics? We can just do the business. Why is it? Now here, because of these things, by supplying quality goods and services, fairness can be fulfilled, thereby increasing their trust on business. Okay, so now in business ethics, in the sense what is good and what is bad, no? So if you are producing a quality good and if you are providing a quality service, right, then you can increase your trust, right? That is also something very important. Then if you follow ethics related to accounting, right, so financial irregularities and misconduct can be avoided, right? So from that you can ensure the trust, right? Because you have some ethics, you know what to do, right? So you, under accounting, you just enter the proper figures without misleading, right? Without cheating, you just enter the proper figures. That is ethics in accounting. Okay, and by following ethics related to the rights and responsibilities of both employers and employees, right? Unfairness by caste, social status, religion, or gender can be avoided. So in an organization, since that this person has another religion, this person is from my religion, you don't treat in that manner, right? So this one has a high caste and this fellow is from low caste, you don't treat in that manner. Okay, ethics related to the rights and responsibilities of both employers and employees, right? So these things can be avoided. According to the gender, you cannot be treated. According to the religion, according to the caste, social status, you cannot treat in that manner, right? So thereby leading to a better human resource management. Okay, so because of these reasons, business ethics are very much important to a business. Then there are factors should be considered when forming code of ethics. Now we are forming a code of ethics. What do you mean by code of ethics? It's the written rules and regulations, children. Written rules and regulations. You write, okay, the rules and regulations in your factory or in your organization, right? So that is known as code of ethics, right? So what are the factors that you will consider when you're writing all these rules and regulations, right? So what are the factors you will consider when forming a code of ethics? You need to think about business. You need to think about customers, employees, competition, right? Socio-culture, organizational culture, practicability also you need to think. Okay, so now for an example, you have a garment factory, apparel industry, right? So you need to form some rules and regulation, ethics, code of ethics, right? So you can't just write all these things, right? You need to think what type of a business is. That's the first thing that you need to think. Then you need to focus of the customer group. What is the target customers that you are going to focus? Who are the employees? Then what is the competition that you have, right? And what about the social culture? And what about the organizational culture? You must be having in the organization this culture I explained you during the first lesson also, right, in detail. Organizational culture. So you might in your organization you might be having a different culture. Today, before starting the work, you might be having a prayers, right? So that is your culture. You might be having a different uniform. That's the organizational culture, right? So that is also you need to consider when writing a code of ethics, right? Practicability. Now you can just write whatever, like they need to come at this time, they need to leave at this time. You can write whatever, but it has to be practical, right? So that has to be practicability. Practicability should be there, right? So these are the factors that you will consider when forming code of ethics, right? Now, if you take business, as I told you, now these things I explain you in my explanation. What is the nature of the business? Then does it produce goods or services, whether it's a small scale or the large scale business? Those are the things that you need to consider. When you are talking about customers, you need to think about their demand pattern. How much, like, the way that they demand the product, right? Occasionally or regularly, the communication pattern, right? These things you need to consider. If you take the employees, which level employee that you are targeting at, their environment, their needs and wants. Then competitors, are there competitors? What are the things that they follow? Right? So these things you need to consider when forming code of ethics. Then socioculture. There are rooted cultural values and norms, children, right, of ethical groups, and their subcultures should be considered when forming code of ethics. Some, culture that you cannot, rooted cultural values. You cannot change those things. So you need to adhere to that and you need to form code of ethics. Then organizational culture also, you need to think about the customs, practices, values, habits, attitudes, right? So when forming code of ethics, you need to know that as well. Practicability, that is also be considered, right? If ethical code of system can be practically be implemented when formulating it, right? You can, write anything, but formulating it has to be, practical. Okay, so these are the factors that you will consider when forming code of ethics. All right. Then again, once again, I would like to speak about this ethical code of system, right? Sometimes they can ask you what ethical code of system is. What is it? Or code of ethics? It's a written rules and regulations. When the code of ethics of a business is written, it is known as ethical code of system or code of ethics, right? So that's the end of our lesson, right? So before ending that, I will just again recall what we have learned today. Social responsibilities and business ethics. Then I gave the definitions from different people and then different nations. Then there are developing forces that which have an impact on stakeholders. Then I told you there are main parties to whom the business has to fulfill its social responsibility. Then I showed you the diagram. Then the benefits also we spoke about, right? The benefits when fulfilling social responsibility. Then about sustainable development. Then I told you there are 3 pillars of sustainable development. Then each pillars that we described, and there are steps and the facts, right? First, economic sustainable development, what are the facts and what are the steps? Then environmental sustainable protection, what are the facts and what are the steps? And social sustainable development, what are the facts and what are the steps, right? Then 4R concept, right? There are certain concepts that a business use for sustainable development. Then we discussed about 4R concept. Then not only 4R, 3R, there's 3R and 5R as well. Then we discussed about recycling, okay, reuse, reduce, replace. Then the adverse effects of business activities. Then later on, we discussed what business ethics are, right? So the importance of following business ethics and factors that you need to consider when forming code of ethics, right? Then what is ethical code of system? Those are the things that we discussed. And some, there's a child asking whether the A-level paper, they are not much focused on these areas. You never know, right? Now, in economics, you know, there is a compulsory question, like, we know, like, this question definitely will come, right? Accounting, this question definitely will come. But there's no such thing in business studies, right? You never know, right? Sometimes this year they might ask, okay? So thinking like that, you can't just omit these things, right? I know only little that they have asked from this area up to now, but you never know next year that they will test on this. Okay, so there's most of the students, they have that problem now. Economics, when you take economics as a subject, if you take that A-level paper, you know that you can target some questions and you can go. For accounting also, you can target some questions and go, but not for business, right? For business studies, there's no such thing, right? Everything that they will put you from all 18 units that they put. Okay, and these fill in the blanks, of course, you will never get from all the other economics or accounting fill in the blanks, set of gap filling questions. Only from business studies you get, right? So thinking from that area, you can't say, like, and even I can't say, even though I'm a marking examiner, I can't say, like, that they will not test from this and not to just slightly just go through this. I can't advise in that manner. So, right, that's what I'm telling you. You have to study all 18 units, but certain things that you cannot by heart. Okay, but later on, I can just, after completing these 18 units, I'll tell you how to organize, how to write the answers. Okay, because now when we go the marking, so we see how they have disorganized the answers, right? So the key terms that they have not used, so from that they have lost their marks, right? So you, first of all, you need to think about the marks allocated, and you need to organize your answer. Even though, like, some students, they write pages and pages with sometimes only 1 point they are describing, right? Like, if they have asked to explain 3 points or 4 points, so 4 points should be there in the explanation. Okay, so there are certain things that you need to know, right? So while doing the lessons, I will direct you, right? I'll facilitate you little by little, right? So I will be, that's our main focus, no, right? So that's the main idea behind this, no, right? So we just give this free of charge for you all, just to organize your answers and to write proper answers. So little by little we'll learn that also. Okay, so right, children, that's the I think that's the end. So from next week, I'll be doing the 3rd unit. We'll start the 3rd unit next week. And in the meanwhile, if you have some questions, you can send me, right? And if you have some doubts, right, you can send me through the chat box, so that end of the lesson that I will discuss all these things and you can clear your doubts. All right, children. Okay, then thank you for joining and have a nice day.
Thank you so much, Madam Sanjeevani. Also, I must say that our children can watch the earlier lectures from our Manapara YouTube channel. Those who are not yet joined the Telegram group can click the link on our YouTube channel and join our Telegram group, because we are sending links and tunes to our Telegram group. And don't forget to subscribe our Manapara YouTube channel. This business studies lecture is held in every Monday from 4 to 6. So ask your friends to join this lecture from next Monday. We invite our lovely children to continue to be together with Manapara. And again, thank you, Madam Sanjeevani, joining with us today. Then we will meet again with another lecture. Goodbye.
වාණිජ විද්‍යා ගණිත කලා තාක්ෂණ වේදය විෂය ධාරාවන් වල සියලුම විෂයන් සඳහා විශ්වවිද්‍යාල කතිකාචාර්යවරුන් සහ රජයේ පාසල්වල ප්‍රවීණ ආචාර්ය මණ්ඩලය විසින් මෙහෙයවනු ලබන දේශන නැනපවුර YouTube channel ඔස්සේ නැරඹිය හැක. ඉදිරි දේශන දැනගැනීම සඳහා නැනපවුර YouTube channel subscribe කරන්න. දැයි දූ දරුවන්ගේ අනාගත ජයග්‍රහණයට